What's up, everybody? It's Gun Turbo here. This is Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition on the Xbox One. This is part 2 of a two-part video series that I wanted to create, talking about mods to start with for Fallout 4. I have taken a different approach to modding Fallout 4 as I have to modding Skyrim. I spent a couple of months figuring out mods and coming up with a load order for Skyrim before making a video and putting it on YouTube. In this case, for Fallout, I have kind of jumped right in, and this being my second video on mods, I've learned a lot in just the week or so that I've since posted that first video on on mods, on how it works totally differently than Skyrim, and some approaches to take that I highly suggest. So, as many of you know, my goal for Skyrim has always been a beautiful looking game. For Fallout, that was my goal as well. How can I make the game look a little bit better with mods? A huge difference is that you only get 2 gigabytes of file storage space for mods for Fallout. So it makes it a little bit more challenging to create the kind of game you want. Comparable to Skyrim, you know, you can throw quite a bit into your load order with 5 gigabytes available and have a little bit of everything. What I'm finding with Fallout 4 is that you can't necessarily have everything that you might want. My suggestion is to think about what you want your game to be, and then kind of go from there. If you want a great looking game, then you pretty much will have enough space to focus on that, and then maybe a little bit more. If it's more weapons and weapon overhauls, you're going to be using up quite a bit of space for that and not have a lot necessarily left over. Or maybe it's a gameplay type of mod or a settlement type of mod. In any case, I'd like to share with you the load order that I have established in starting out modding Skyrim, and some of my personal suggestions beyond that. So first of all, we have the Unofficial Fallout 4 patch. This is by the same mod authors that created the Skyrim Unofficial patch, and basically this cleans up a lot of the bugs and a lot of the loose ends, if you will, from the completion of the game. I also have Vivid Fallout. This is really the only texture landscape overhaul that exists. It's a huge file size though. This is the all-in-one. So what this mod author has done is created separate mods that increase or improve the texture of rocks, of different landscapes, items, trees, bark, roads, bridges, things like that. So you can get these mods separate, or you can get this all-in-one mod. It's a pretty good file size though, but it does perform well. We're not getting 2K, 4K texture increases. It's still pretty consistent with what the vanilla game of Fallout looks like. But I've been wanting to put this in my load order and try it, and it looks really nice. I've tested just about every weather mod, I think all of them actually, that are available for Fallout 4. Again, this is Xbox One. And the most popular weather mod seems to be, or I should say is, True Storms. True Storms is much smaller in storage file size, and what it really does overall is kind of beef up the weathers. Textures are improved. The lighting seems to be a little bit different, but basically it isn't necessarily a weather overhaul when it comes to your weather systems. It's more of a beefing up of your weathers in True Storms. I tried Natural and Atmospheric Commonwealth. I tried Calamity Weathers by Arendelle. Better Weathers and Graphics. There's a number of mods out there. Just like Skyrim, they're all excellent in their own way. It depends what you might like. I personally, even though it's a bigger file size, really like the look of Vivid Weathers by Manga Club. I am really enjoying just the way it makes the game look. It's not drastically different, but it does add a nice atmospheric look to the world, in addition to some beautiful lighting elements and moments, with a variety of new and different kinds of weathers and looks. I would suggest, if you want to focus a little bit more on the look of your game to make it a little bit better, I would suggest Vivid Weathers, trying that out. If you don't like the file size, I would then absolutely look at True Storms as your second go-to. I also have the patches for the DLC, so Far Harbor, Nuka-World are also included. One mistake that I made is that I had the Silent Hill patch in my original load order. It's a Vivid Weathers patch. What this caused was complete fog throughout the whole game, morning, noon, and night, and even variations of fog. And I was questioning and researching, why is my game so foggy? And I had looked on chat rooms postings. Some people said Vivid Weathers is foggy all the time. What's going on? Well, I reached out to the mod author, who said that the Silent Hill patch will cause a full fog effect, which can be interesting because you really can't see much. Well, you can't see too far in front of you. So for a while, as I was playing with it, it did definitely create a challenge and an interesting feel to the game, but to have it constantly was a little bit much. So that is not in my load order, but something to just consider. I also have Reverb and Ambience Overhaul. This is also a mod that I use for Skyrim, and I love it for Skyrim, and it is excellent in Fallout. One amazing example is when you are inside a building, and this is really the essence of the mod. When you're inside a building and something bumps, metal falls or drops, it sounds incredibly realistic. In fact, I was playing the game with headphones the other day, and there's a clip in here that is very similar. When I'm inside one of the homes, something falls or an NPC is working on something outside, and I truly thought it was something outside of the game and behind me or something. So when you're watching this video and these clips that are upcoming, put a pair of headphones on and listen for that. But things like gunshots inside versus outside, if you're in like a metal container, like a box car or something, or in a room versus being outside, the echo and the reverb is pretty profoundly distinct, and it's really, really cool. Further on down in the load order, some of these mods here are definitely ones I wouldn't necessarily recommend as, have-tos, but just some that I am personally playing with and trying. Zombies. This is a mod that seems a little bit more popular than some other zombie mods that are out there. Turns the feral ghouls into zombies. Basically, it slows them down. You need to execute a headshot in order to take them out permanently, which offers a pretty cool challenge. Also, when you dispatch a raider or an enemy, they will come back to life as a zombie or a walker. You can rename them. You can name them zombies, walkers, or something else. You can do different settings, such as how often they spawn, ways to kill, whether it's headshots or not, percentage of spawn rates and things like that. So I'm a fan of Walking Dead, and this adds a little bit of that feel to the game for me, a little bit more kind of that survival mode for me. So I have this in my load order. Next, a mod that I've been trying called Plenty O Exploration, and this adds This adds additional places to explore. I find that with this mod, there are cabins and homes and shelters throughout Fallout that are new. You can also enter more buildings in Concord, and that's pretty much as far as I've gotten, but it does add some more places to explore. I have 2 blood textures that I've been trying out because I love me a gory game. Uh, Enhanced blood textures and Fallout 4 Gore Overhaul. If you're just wanting one, I would suggest the Gore Overhaul. It makes things look more realistic with texture and color. But the enhanced blood textures seems to add more natural looking blood to your character or your victim after you dismember them or whatever. I have realistic Ragdoll's Force. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Not anything you might need, but just something I personally have and like in my load order. Display enhancements. In Skyrim, this is my most essential mod. In Fallout, it does the job, but it's a different game, and not 100% necessarily needed. I'm finding that with my Vivid Weathers mod installed, I like to increase contrast a little bit. When I was playing with True Storms, I was reducing the brightness a little bit to make it look a little bit better. And for Vivid Weathers, give it a try. A little bit of a reduced brightness can kind of darken the world a little bit more to make it a little bit more atmospheric. But that's all I've done for display enhancements. I have a weapon overhaul mod. This is the modern tactical weapons mod. It seems to be highly popular. Again, big file size, over 500 megabytes. It takes up a lot of storage space. Wanted to give it a try. I really like it. It adds a lot of weapons to the game, and it's kind of neat because kind of going along with that Walking Dead feel. You have a more modern weapon to be able to explore with, and dispatch more enemies with these weapons. One thing about the mod, though, that is challenging is that it reduces your survival rate when it comes to the number of times you can get shot at. So you don't have as many chances to get hit by somebody else's bullet or weapon before you die. So a couple of shots, depending where it is, depending where you are. A couple of times I had to replay a section because I just kept getting shot on the first hit. But I guess I got to do a better job of playing the game. And finally, at the bottom of my load order, I have Wet. This is a water texture overhaul. And there are a couple of water texture overhauls out there. This one seems to be the most popular, the most impactful, and from what I'm seeing, really the best looking. So I have this one in my load order. With all of that said, if I were to suggest truly what mods to use to start with, if you're looking for a better looking game, I would say definitely Vivid Weathers, Vivid Fallout, and this Wet Water Enhancement Texture mod. Start with those and see what you think of the look of the game. If you need more file size, you might want to really consider Vivid Fallout as an exception. You could probably get away with not having that one in your load order. On a side note, I did try some foliage mods. I tried a grass mod that was incredibly lightweight, only added grass in a somewhat sparse kind of way. It wasn't too overwhelming, but I immediately saw a performance hit. The frame rate dropped pretty significantly, and I was in a wooded area. So I haven't even tried any of these, foliage green up overhauls for the game, but I may in time give one a try and see how it does for performance. But again, think about what you want your game to be and maybe just focus on those mods because there's not a lot of space for storage. And hopefully, at least, this has been helpful to think about how to sort, think about how to approach modding for Fallout, and my recommendations for the focus of a better looking Fallout game. So enjoy, stick around. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.